appropriately address the negative stereotypes within the, and so there are a lot of decisions made, a lot of working with the individual characters to try to really address those things. So I don't think there's anything as concrete as changing the Nazi flag to a cross, but I think that there were a number of really small decisions along the way that that I know that folks made and the director made to try and more appropriately deal with some of the stereotypes that were there. Is that?
Yes. That being said, it wasn't perfect, right? So we did our best with what we had, and we knew that the characters of Ching Ho and Bung Fu, for example, they could be presented really in a flat way, as the henchmen, as the assistants, constantly making fun of their inability to speak the language. I think that throughout the rehearsal process, I worked closely with the actors as well as other people in the building to make sure that with the material that we did have to work with, we did our best to create real human characters. That being said, the show is written in a way that every character is heightened. Dorothy is a heightened ingenue. Trevor is a heightened leading man. So, following the style of the show, I think a lot of the pain and the anger from seeing the images come from the heightened images of the characters of Ching Ho and Bung Fu. But I think that the education going on in the school was meaningful and was worthwhile.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Bautista. I'm a Newtonville resident. I'm also administrator of the Boston Arts Academy, where we deal with a lot of these issues often with our diverse population. But mostly I speak as a parent of 2 young children who I hope will go to Newton North someday, and as an Asian American. I was really offended yesterday. And I read the career notes, and what they said to me were, there's some really bad stereotypes in here. And we made it a teachable moment, and everybody learned a lot. So it's okay to have them there. And it's not okay teachable moments should be planned. They should not be reactions to something that someone else pointed out. Because that's what it feels like from the outside community. It may or may not have been that way, but that's the way it comes out. I remember years ago hearing that Newton North or Newton South, I'm not sure which, was doing a Laramie project. What a great way to have a teachable moment about homophobia. This was not one of those planned teachable moments. It's not the message I want my Asian American kids to hear, that just because we learn about the issue, we can still do it. My father was an Asian American immigrant who was made fun of all the time because of his accent, and was never given any respect and was considered stupid until they found out he was a doctor. So you got 2 characters on stage where Miss Mears is looking up all the words in the dictionary so she can communicate with them. And seeming, in my perception, perhaps from my background, interpreting that as they are seemingly stupid, is not okay. That's not what I hope that that's not one of the few images my children will see when they come to Newton North of what it means to be Asian. Our children are watching us, right? They're watching how we're responding to this situation. They're watching how we're responding to this controversy. And in my mind, this is not the way we want to respond. So I asked, I read your letter back to the community, and I only can hope for the best. Among my disappointment now, that things moving forward will be better. I wonder what this process that you say will be used in the future, more scrutiny, what will that look like? Who decides? And what are the parameters for deciding? I hope this dialogue leads to action and not just more talk and appreciation that we learned a lot more. And I'm happy to volunteer in any way possible. I live a quarter of a mile down the street.